My name is Samuel Cohen-Tanugi. So I actually heard about human biology at the same time that I heard about Stanford for the first time. I'm a French international student, and I was already enrolled to go into med school. And the summer of my junior year, I met Professor Helen Blau from Stanford, who was visiting during the summer and happened to live in the same apartment that I live in. She thought that human biology was one of the great, unique majors that Stanford offers as an alternative to the standard pre-med tracks that all students have to take here. And so, in a more radical sense even, I would have been going directly to med school. So she thought that human biology was as far as possible from what I was doing back then. And she told me about it, and so I decided to look at the website and decided to apply to Stanford with human biology in mind already before I came here. So summer of my freshman year, I was one of the lucky participants on the really campus-renowned trip to the Galapagos, led by Professor Durham, which is it's a sophomore seminar, a field seminar. And Professor Durham is really one of the iconic figures, I think, of human biology. And the trip, it really illustrates the mindset of human biology, especially the one that attracted me towards human biology. As a freshman, I wasn't sure anymore whether human biology was going to be the major I would pick. I was definitely a pre-med student, but my whole life I had been interested in standard questions that I think everybody asks themselves, but not everybody thinks about in an academic sense or in a career-oriented sense. Questions like, why do people do what they do? Why do social phenomenon happen? All these questions that could be philosophical questions, or that could be used in economics. But when I thought of biology, I really thought that it would be actually just more of a deterministic way of looking at the mechanisms by which how people act, rather than trying to understand the more social context. So on the trip to the Galapagos, I got to talk with Professor Durham a lot, but and we were learning about evolution of organisms. But sometime during the trip, I started talking to him about his career and tried to understand what he had been interested in as a student and then as a professor. And it turned out that he studied the evolution of ideas. And so I was fascinated by the fact that here was somebody who had applied his own interest that seemed similar to my interest, and had used his biological background to try to create a framework about how to think about these questions. So one of the most important things I think I learned in the core as a sophomore was the fact that there are innumerable aspects to the phenomenon that we're observing. And so just understanding the biology is not all the answer, and just understanding the anthropology or the social phenomenon is not all the answer either. Actually, I think human biology should be called human, not human biology, because human biology suggests that we're looking at the biology only. And when I started thinking about what concentration I wanted for hum bio, I asked myself, what is the most useful thing I could learn from Stanford that will help me ultimately understand human beings and be a good citizen and be good at whatever it is that I'm doing, hopefully be a doctor. And I thought that what Stanford had to offer me at this point is actually getting to know researchers, getting to understand the process of research, the process of science, and how that contributes to our knowledge. And so I decided to work the connections and get funding from the human biology program, HB-REX, that offers up to $6,000 for a summer of research for sophomores. And I decided to major in a pretty narrow biological concentration. I called it the cellular and molecular basis for development and disease. And my research this summer with Professor Helen Blau, whom I met in France and brought me to Stanford, in stem cell biology, and hopefully the classes that I'll take for my concentration will really give me a strong background that will be useful in understanding whatever it is that I end up doing later. So 2 weeks into my HB-REX summer internship, I'm discovering kind of how the whole lab environment works. A lot of it at this point is following my mentor around, getting to understand like the schedules for experiments, how you how you work with other people, getting all the materials you need for your experiments. And I guess a lot of it is working with somebody and following the steps that they take in their own project. But hopefully what will come out of this is the more independence I get with how to do certain experiments, I'll be able to have my own biological question that I can answer, and maybe that will unwrap into a honors thesis, I hope, my senior year.